Yes, you can. A podcast for high achievers. Hi, I'm Tammy North. I'm the owner of the Genuine Driven Women brand of businesses. The goal of this podcast is to help you become the best that you can be. Don't ever doubt the power you have to make the world a better place. Yes, you can make a difference. Today's podcast is brought to you by the 30-Day Executive Presence at Home Challenge. The world needs your gifts now more than ever. Do you want your own executive coach? Well, then I have a treat for you. All you have to do is 30 small challenges while you're hanging out at home, and they will propel you into the future. I've designed each one of these challenges specifically for you to get you ready to take that next big step. No matter if it's a promotion you're looking for, a new passion position, maybe you are in the market for a new opportunity, a new job, or maybe you're starting a completely new career. You'll receive one challenge every day that's jam-packed with easy-to-do step-by-step instructions. You'll get the first one starting today. All you have to do is scroll down into the show notes. You'll find a link there, one quick sign up, and you'll get the first one in your inbox. I've already gotten a ton of feedback, and I can tell you, day 5 is a fan favorite. There's never been a more important time to bring your special gifts to the world. You are a leader, and it is your time to shine. The world needs you to be ready. Are you in? Again, you'll find a link to the 30-day challenge down in the show notes. Now let's get on with our show. When you are a high achiever and you have a history of excellent performance throughout your life, then you know what good feels like, and you know how the possibility of making a difference and accomplishing something great can just make you leap out of bed in the morning, often before the early light of dawn. This is one thing I really wish I could get some people to understand, is that success and wins that you have in your life, even really small wins, have a way of creating new and even endless energy. It's kind of like the more you do, the more you want to do. This is true of really good hard work, big projects, exercise, morning routines, all of that. Once you're in motion, it just feels better to stay in motion. One very literal example of this occurring in my own life is back in, I think it was 2004. I ran the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon, and I trained for 6 months, but the longest run I'd ever done to that point before I actually ran the marathon was an 18-mile run. And then I trained properly. I did all of that, but the longest run I had done was 18 miles. And then I remember the day of the marathon, it came. I was running. I didn't stop running. I had done so much planning and so much logistics, all the things you're supposed to do to make sure you can finish a marathon as healthy as possible. And I got past 18 miles and I got to 19 miles, and I think something in my head said, oh, this is the furthest you've ever been. You've never run this far without stopping before. And so something about that, and I was in a place along this kind of deserted area. There were no spectators. I was all by myself. There was really nobody in front of me or behind me, not close enough. I could see people, but they weren't very close. It wasn't like I could race and pass somebody or motivate myself that way. So I was kind of in this moment, it was just me. And what was I going to do? And so I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just walk for a minute. So after 19 miles, I decided I'm walking. So I stopped. I took 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and then it hit me. Wow, that hurts. It actually hurt more to walk than it did to keep running the way I had been. I took a couple more steps just to make sure I wasn't wrong. Nope, it definitely hurt to walk. So I started running again, and it felt better. And I was so thankful that it didn't hurt that I just kept on running. And I didn't stop again until I got to 26.2 miles. That's an example that once you're in motion, it just feels better to stay in motion. I suppose I never really did research as to why that phenomenon occurred for me, but I would assume it's probably common. But your body just gets in this motion, it's doing its thing, and it actually hurts to change the motion. I think that you can use this example in many other ways. You just have to believe that once you do the work, and once you're taking your steps, once you are actually moving toward your goal, it is going to be easier to keep going than it is to stop. That's kind of what I want you to focus on today. Because you're a high achiever, you've probably already figured this out. You know that once you're in motion, it feels better to stay in motion. But still, there's going to be times when things aren't going as well as you expect them to be, and there's going to be times when things actually get pretty hard. So if lately you found yourself really struggling to get out of bed, if your passion seems to be waning, and if you're not sure that you're on the right path, then this episode is for you. If you've been struggling for a really long time and you know that you must be here for a greater purpose, but you don't really know what it is, maybe you haven't found it yet, and maybe you feel like you're just going through the motions of life, kind of wondering, is there something more out there? Then this episode is for you. And maybe you don't want to get out of bed in the morning because you simply hate your current job. You're overwhelmed with your current home life and you don't know how to get on a better track. Then this episode is for you. Today we're going to talk about what you should do when you realize that you hate waking up in the morning and the steps you can take to figure out what is wrong, and then the concrete steps you can take to get on a better track. So how do you know that you're stuck in this kind of rut? What are the signs that it's time to infuse more purpose or meaning into your life? One of the signs we already talked about, which is very common in these moments, COVID and all that if you're finding that you're having a really hard time getting out of bed in the morning, and this is especially true if you usually wake up and jump out of bed to get your day started. If you usually spend less than 5 minutes in bed after you first wake up, then if you're having a hard time and you're that kind of person, then you might be struggling right now. And if you're a person who's never been able to get out of bed in the morning, you always lay in bed for like an hour after you wake up, then hey, I've got an even bigger opportunity waiting ahead for you. Another sign is that when you're walking through your day and you feel like the air's thick, like jello, and everything just seems so hard, you don't really feel joy, and you begin to think that you might just be a zombie, like you're just a body walking around with no mission, no direction, no real feeling. Another sign is when you get to work, if you sit in your car and just dread going in, and then finally when you tell yourself you have to go, then it's all you can do to make each foot take the next step toward the front door. If you're feeling like that, it's time to try to figure out what's going on. When you take stock of everything in your life and you can clearly and logically see that you have a great life, meaning if others looked at your life, they would describe your life as ideal. But yet there you are and you don't feel the joy that you know you should, even though it seems like your life is the answer to somebody else's prayers. So there's something that's out of alignment if that's how you're feeling. And then another sign is if you look at all the people in your closest circle of your family and friends, do you notice that there's an imbalance of negativity surrounding you? And that could be happening for many reasons, but it is a sign that some changes need to be made. So if you have some of these signs, either one or more of the signs that we just discussed, or there's probably other signs that let you know, okay, things aren't quite right. This is not who I know I am. In the past, I've been a much different person than I am right now. Or even if you've kind of always struggled, but you're here for a bigger reason, for a better purpose, then let's talk about some steps that you can take to find your purpose in a way that'll motivate you and help you get to the most powerful version of yourself. So the first step I want you to take is, as soon as you're finished listening to this episode, I want you to get a journal or a sheet of paper and just capture what goes through your mind for the next few minutes. Okay, but now, if you're not driving, I just want you to listen to the following few prompts that I take you through. Don't write anything, just close your eyes and visually imagine what your response is to the things I say next. If you are driving, don't close your eyes, but still think about and remember what goes through your head as I say these next few things. Okay, let's get started. So when is the last time that you did something to actively make the world a better place? Just think about this. Let it go through your mind. This could be time you spent volunteering. It could be time you spent creating a purpose-driven business or some type of product that helps other people. When's the last time you surprised a friend with a helping hand or a small gift? Just something to make them smile? If it's been a while for any of these things, then think of some ways that you can spread joy out into the world, some way that you can use your own superpowers to make a positive impact in the world. Now just let that run through your mind, picture it, be with it. What are some steps you can take to make the world a better place? Okay, now think about this. When you were young enough to have big, wild dreams, what did you dream about? What was your favorite thing to do when you had free time? If you could do anything you wanted, what did you do? And when you were like 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in there, what did you imagine you would be when you grew up? So when you hear other people talking about an adventure that they went on or some activity that they participated in, do you ever feel just a little bit of envy? Think about the times that happened, that you kind of felt jealous, envious of somebody else and the activities that they were taking. Let that sit with you for a moment and really process it, but remember when that happened. What are some activities that you've always wanted to try, but you've never actually been brave enough to try? Do you have an active dream for your life that you think about almost every day? This is a dream that has not yet come true. What is that dream? Think about it in detail right now. Think about the space, the colors, the people. What are you actively doing? How do you feel? Smell the smells, hear the sounds. What is that life like? What do you picture? What are you doing? So imagine that you found out that you had only 1 year to live. What would you do in the next 12 months if that was your reality? If you knew 100% for certain that these were your last 12 months on earth, what would be the most important way that you would spend your time? Think about the time after you pass, after you've moved on to heaven, and your family, friends, and other connections are left here without you. When any of those people think back on you, when they remember you and your life, either with them or your life in general, how do you want them to remember you? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Okay, now don't forget any of the thoughts that you just had. And as soon as you can, now if possible, write down as much of your thoughts as you can remember to all the prompts that we just discussed. You can listen back again if you need to remember any of the prompts. Okay, now I want you to create the mindset you need to get moving and inspired. And one way you can do this is by creating an upbeat motivational or inspirational playlist. I know this can be kind of time consuming, so in the meantime, you can listen to the playlist I made for you. It's on Spotify. You'll find the link down in the show notes, and that'll give you kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. I know we may not have exactly the same taste in music, but I have quite an array of different types of music on this list. You know, from country to pop to show tunes to rap, you name it. There's a lot of stuff on there. So go check out my playlist. I think you'll like it. One thing I like to do when I need some motivation, when I'm feeling kind of glum, is I play really motivational music like this, inspirational, motivational, and I'll do something like just clean house, get some things in control while I'm listening to the music. But something simple tasks like doing the dishes, folding the laundry. And what that does is it like lets my mind just wander. I hear this really great music that gives me thoughts. And next thing you know, my mind is off dreaming and thinking of all the things I could be doing to make the world a better place. And then all I do is take action on some of those ideas that I have. So it might help you to do the same thing. Okay, another thing you can do is force yourself to look at the world with a new perspective. When you're in a rut like this, it really helps to kind of just completely change things up. Just look at things a completely different way. And it's hard to do that if you're staying in the same place, talking to the same people, doing the same things. So a few things you might do is, for instance, go outside and take a long walk. Sometimes I walk while I'm listening to my motivational playlist, but I also walk in pure silence. And those are two different types of experiences. If you can go walk somewhere new, that's even better. A lot of cities and states have websites where you can go find day trips and scenic walking trails. And there's no better day than today to go research a new place and take yourself to see something different. Another way to change your perspective, or to at least see a new perspective, is to read books that are completely different from your go-to genre. If you normally read business books, then read a fictional novel. Choose something fun. If you normally read romance books, then maybe choose a history book or a biography of one of your favorite role models. Just completely pick a completely different genre and just read something that you don't normally read. Do something you don't normally do, just to give your mind kind of a speed bump to kind of knock it into a different place. Over the next few weeks, I want you to spend more time talking to people that you enjoy, but you don't really know that well. So if you know somebody maybe at work, maybe in your neighborhood, that you kind of know, you kind of talk to sometimes, but you don't really know them, well, take the time to get to know them better. Ask them some questions, hang out with them a little bit, invite them over to have a glass of iced tea with you. Spend some time just building new relationships or making old relationships that aren't very deep stronger. I think you'll be surprised at the people that when you really get to know somebody that you haven't taken the time to really dig into, that the more you know them, in a lot of cases, the better you'll like them. And I think that is actually a good solution for a lot of the problems we're having today in this world, is that the more you take really just talking to people and understanding them and where they're coming from, not only do you get a new perspective in your mind, you can choose to believe what you believe, but the more educated you become on different people and their challenges, and take time to understand the challenges that other people are going through, it just makes the entire world a better place. So that's actually kind of fun. It's not even that hard to do. Just spend time talking to people. It's really good for your soul. Another thing you can do is make a list of all your favorite things. And this might be relationships, people, actual things you have, foods, feelings, kind of like the song My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. It could be as simple as raindrops on roses or whiskers on kittens. You get the idea. But just make a list of things you love. taking time to exercise, even just a simple walk like we were talking about, but the more exercise you do and the more you get your heart rate up, the better you'll feel. You can do things simple like dancing to your favorite songs, cleaning the house, walking around the block, wash the car. Those are all a good start. But the more you exercise, the more you really burn calories and get your heart rate up, the better you're going to feel. So take time to do that because it will also get your mindset in a better place. And it will happen surprisingly fast. Can't think of any time in my entire life that I've ever exercised and felt more depressed than when I started. It's just not a thing that happens. Another activity is that you can spend time taking care of you. You can give yourself a pedicure, you can go get one if your salons are open and all the proper precautions are taken. But, take time to moisturize your skin, have a mini spa day. Just drink enough water that day, put some lime or mint in it to make you feel special, but just enjoy it, indulge in you, and give yourself what you need to feel great. Okay, the next activity is to limit your screen time, your phones, TVs, etc. If you're feeling really low and in a rut, it's probably time to dramatically reduce your screen time or your TV time. I'm not going to go very deep into this one because it's been pretty well covered in the world, but I could do an hour-long podcast on all the reasons why you need to do this. There are so many. But the good news is the less time you spend looking at your phones, staring at the TV, the more time you're going to have to do all the other ideas that we've talked about in this podcast. And you'll feel so much better than just scrolling through Instagram feedback or TikTok. So out of everything we talked about today, what caught your attention? When we were going through the voice prompts, was there anything that you thought of that lit a spark? Do you remember what it was? So for the next 10 days or so, I want you to try some or all of the steps in this podcast to make yourself feel better. And as you spend more time working on a new perspective, meeting new people, seeing new sites, go back and review the prompts in step 1. Have you gained any new depth or insight into any of them? Have you had any new ahas? Write in your journal often as you go through all of these steps, because I would really like you to keep track of where you've been and where you're going. Okay, so far we've talked about all the ways you can tell that you're feeling stuck, unmotivated, and like you've lost your purpose. And then we went through some of the good steps you can take to actively work on finding deeper meaning and purpose in your life. It might take a few weeks to get clarity on the next thing that will set your soul on fire, but if you open your mind and go exploring, you will find it. Finding the spark is not going to be enough though. You've probably already had a dream at some point that you let burn out. And this new dream might be a rekindling of that dream, or it might be a completely new dream. But still, you're going to have to decide if you're going to just continue to exist or if you're ready to make a dream come true. Are you going to lay in bed and watch the paint peel? Are you going to become an active participant? Are you going to listen to your friends' exciting stories and just wish you were them? Or are you going to create your own adventures? Are you going to dread every step into work, or are you going to turn your feet toward a path that changes your entire trajectory for the better? It's up to you. Think of the spark of joy that you have discovered. As we were going through these steps, you felt something. What would it take for your life to have a lot more of that and a lot less dread? Maybe it's just a hobby that you can spend more time doing throughout the week. If this spark were to become a full-fledged raging fire, would it require you to change jobs or quit your job or actively plan to transition from your current job? Maybe you want to grow a new business. Maybe you want to move to a new location. Does it require some different education or training? How much of your current life are you living right now, day to day, that is aligned with the life you have decided you wish you were living? If you're 100% honest with yourself, you know the answer to this question. The most important step to get out of your rut, to find your energy, to find your motivation, and to want to jump out of bed in the morning is to set a goal right now. In your journal, or even better, in your daily planner, I want you to write down one goal that you want to achieve in the next 3 to 6 months based on the steps that we took from today's episode. Make this goal something that's possible to achieve in the time period that you choose. Let's say if your goal is to learn to play the most common acoustic guitar chords well enough that you could play and sing along to at least 5 songs in the next 3 months, that would be a great goal. So from there, I want you to break the goal down into steps you need to take and make sure you have daily and weekly tasks in your planner that will ensure you achieve your goal by the 3-month time. Some steps might be that you need to buy or borrow a guitar. You need to sign up for guitar lessons. You need to find a good YouTube channel or an online course that will teach you what you want to know in the style you want to learn. So once you have the equipment and your learning method, you'll have to practice several times a week. So write that into your planner. If you've decided that this is your dream and it makes you really happy to think about yourself achieving this goal, then it should be mostly enjoyable to learn and track your progress to the goal. The important part is that you figure out where your life can change to align yourself with who you want to be, and then create the plan that's going to get you there and stick to it. This will work when your life's feeling too routine and when you feel the need to find more meaning. I do want to take a step back for just a moment and say that if your current problem with getting out of bed is more serious, then part of your plan to get where you want to go might be to talk to a mental health specialist. And you are the only one who knows how bad you're truly feeling. And oftentimes, high achievers like yourself mask their mental health issues so well that no one else would even suspect or even know that you need help. So it's up to you sometimes to be brave enough to go get the help you need and to ask for it. If you really care about living the life of your dreams, then make sure that part of your self-care includes taking account of your mental state and addressing your challenges just like you would go see a doctor if you need antibiotics or blood pressure medicine. I know that when things feel so stuck and you think that this might be as good as life gets, that it can be really hard to snap out of. In this time of COVID, not to mention all the current events and news with the anchors taking all the sides to extreme, it's so easy to let yourself slip into gloom. There are a few things that will help you get through these times, and one of them is your own focus on your purpose and your meaning. If you move toward that beacon with a genuine desire to make the world a better place in your own little way, you will not only help yourself, but you'll probably end up helping others along the way, others who don't know the way. So today, please decide to take the first steps toward who you know you are supposed to be, and let me know how it goes. You can connect with us on Facebook at Genuine Driven Women, or to learn more about what we offer, check out genuinedrivenwomen.com.